faster for me, darling. I never got a reaction from you. Even when I pushed and pulled at you, no reaction from you. Even when I screamed and called your name, no reaction from you. Oh, your heart goes. You never let me in. Oh, your heart goes. You never let me in. You never let me in. I never got a reaction from you. Even when I pushed and pulled at you, no reaction from you. Even when I screamed and called your name, no reaction from you. Oh, your heart
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Ben from Universal Audio, and welcome back to another UA live stream. Today's going to be a really fun, special one. We've joined by the one and only Fab Dupont from Flux Studios in New York. How's it going, Fab?
Life is wonderful.
Nice. Well,
Another day in paradise.
another day in paradise, right?
Yes.
So, man, today this is gonna be kind of a fun episode. What do we got in store?
Yes. So today, last year at Gear Fest, everything feels like it was a long time ago now.
It feels like
But
it was
last
2
year,
years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah.
yeah. So last year at Gear Fest, I was walking around in between panels and just petting gear, making it purr. And then I heard this amazing sound coming from, I think it was from the Neumann Sennheiser tent out there in the parking lot. So I went, and there was this unbelievable singer, like really made me want to cross the parking lot and go listen to what was going on. So I went and listened to her, and she had a really good band. And I was like, wow, this is cool. And so at the end of the show, I went to introduce myself. Hey, you guys are great. And then we stayed in touch. And then we tried to work together, but it didn't work out. It was too complicated, and my schedule was a little insane, stuff like that. And then um, a week or 2 weeks ago, their manager, a band's called Ariella, their manager um, wrote me and said, "Hey, can you mix this?" And I was like, I may have a solution.
Uh-huh.
So today I'm going to mix 3 songs for Ariella live on the air. And the idea here is because it's just a vocal and a guitar, just a vocal and a guitar. So I thought it would be really cool for you guys to see from start to finish. Like literally, I'm going to open the folder and I'm going to drag and drop the files into Luna, and I'm going to start mixing, and then we'll see where we go. So is 2-track mixing? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it is.
It's
It's just
same level of difficulty, just less density, right?
exactly. So we should be able to get through pretty much all the material. But it is mixing. I mean, it's going to come in. I don't know. We'll see
Hmm.
we'll see what happens. So there's that.
But
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 before
it's
I hit
also
it,
it's
yeah,
also something that so many people are mixing right now, right? Because
yeah,
this is a really
just them.
common
Yeah,
vocal and guitar. Like that's what most singer songwriters, if they're recording at home, this is what you're going to be dealing with 90% of the time.
absolutely. So before I hit that, I just wanted to give a last update on Nesrine.
Oh yes.
So it's been what, 6 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Since we
something like
said
that. Yeah. So the record's finished. And
nice
so
work.
what happened after, you're gonna love this. For those of you who were watching last week. So at the end of the broadcast last week, I got a text from Nesrine. She said, so that edit on that song, could we do it? so 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 I recalled, and then she sent me like timings. It was like butchery. So I butchered the song, and that's the version that's gonna be on the record.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the last thing which was discussed on air on Tales from the Switch. It was like she was like, "You're right. It should be shorter." So I cut it down, and then I sent an archive, a Dropbox archive, to Diego Calvino in Buenos Aires at
Mm-hmm.
332 Studios for two reasons. The label Act in Germany wanted a CD, and I haven't made a CD in 800 years.
Yeah.
So on my CD making software, and actually my CD burner, I don't even know where it is. So to do a check, so I asked Diego as a favor, hey Diego, Boludo, could you please do me a favor? Could you listen to this, make sure I didn't screw up anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and adjust anything you want to adjust, like if you think one is too fat or whatever. Let me know if there's any level issues.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like fixing the level issues between songs, be my guest.
Uh-huh.
And make a DDP so I can send it to the and insert the ISRC codes and the UPNs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I got it back this morning, and Diego touched nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So this record, the Nesrin record, is going to go from Luna to distribution with nothing done
That's
to it.
crazy.
So
That's
when it's
awesome.
out, you'll be able to go to Spotify or whatever your poison is, and then press play, and you'll be able to hear the exact output of Luna.
Hell
It's
yeah.
nice.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Fab.
Well, thank you so very much. Congratulations, UA. A full album of songs mixed entirely in Luna, sight and scene. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
That's rad.
So that's nice. And I don't know if the show will still be going on when the record comes out, but if it is, I will let you know when it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you should follow Nesrin, and I'm sure she'll communicate with you guys when it's out. Or maybe UA can send out something. The first,
Yeah.
Luna mixed record is out on Spotify. Yoo-hoo!
Might be kind of fun to come back and do like a listening party all together.
Oh, let's do that. Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Once it's out, I think the label will let me play the whole song.
That could be kind of fun. Do a little
That'd be
Q&A, a
awesome.
little Q&A
Yeah.
listening part.
Yeah,
Just mark it in your
yeah.
calendar. There we go.
She's just so bright, and she is so happy with the experience. So thanks everyone for your patience to follow the whole arc of things.
Yeah.
So that was Nesrin. Let's move on to Ariella. So I have here this very empty session. For those of you who use Luna, you recognize it. Maybe I should share my screen.
It'd be helpful.
This is the part of the week where we all remember that I have to share my screen. How's that?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, good. Let me get rid of this thing that's always in the way. Boom. Right. So I have here in the Finder, somewhere in the Finder, I'm going to open a window and bring it up here. And this is Ariella's folder. This is the session you're looking at, Ariella. Let me turn Dropbox off. Because I'm working off Dropbox, and so it's always an issue. There you go. So Dropbox is not going to bother us. All right. So I have 3 songs: one called Hope, one called Joy, and one called Mr. Officer.
Nice.
So let's do. There seems to be less files in Mr. Officer. Let's start there. So I'm going to get these 2 files and drag and drop it into Luna. And here we are. How's everyone, by the way? Everybody cool?
Yeah, man.
Because I don't have access to the chats.
You don't get to see love UA, hi Fab, hi Ben, que paso, no que paso. Hello from Asheville, hello from Valencia. Yeah, man, we got
Hello
people
from
all over.
Valencia. Hi.
Hello from
Valencia is what
Russia.
Nesrin is.
Yeah, we got some.
Okay.
Oh wow, yeah, everywhere.
Okay, great. So I have now drag and drop this song. It's 2 tracks.
Mhm.
My feeling is that um, this was recorded live. Let's figure it out. So let's play this.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes. He called and said that he needs me. Yes, he did. And that's why I'm in a rush. See, I don't want to keep him waiting, 'cause he don't ever ask for too much. Please, Mr.
All right, second verse, and then
Yes.
somebody tricked me here. It seems like there's a background guitar and a lead guitar together. Okay, cool.
Does it sound like it's maybe a looper pedal? Like
Yeah,
maybe
it's
like
a loop. It's a loop
Yeah.
thing. So it's classic 1645, Motown inspired kind of vibe. So that gives me ideas. If I solo the vocal on the bridge there, clearly recorded live. So that's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
My man called and he
And then
said
we get back on the bridge.
ever ask for too much. Please, Mr. Officer.
So Ari has a big range.
Hurry, 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 or I should not
So
please.
I think the microphone was like, I don't think so.
Hurry, 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 or I should not please.
So you had a little bit of a like the microphone going, oh, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because she's so loud.
Well,
so
it's not quite
powerful.
it's not quite like clipping, but it's just
No, it's not clipping. It's just going like, I don't want to do this. That's what a microphone's saying. I don't want to do this. So we're gonna have to take that into account, and the range too.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
Oof, so good. And then
Baby, yes, I'm going home to my baby.
all right, cool. I think and then what's this?
Oh.
That's banter. All right, cool. Well, while we here, that as well.
clean up your tail.
Yeah, because towards the end you get tired and then you don't do it.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, right? Like I don't know if you do this, Fab, but just anytime you hear something, do something, right? Especially if it's something that's like quick and easy to do. It's like may as well get this out of the way because half hour from now
They
you're
won't,
gonna
yeah. I will be busy thinking of something else.
Mm-hmm.
I can't because I got all the noise from Zoom. I'm not sure how. That's good enough for jazz. All right, cool. So this is what we have to deal with. So when I listen to this, and then I said, okay, I got to be ready for that big ranch thing at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to get the intimacy. I think that the vocal sound.
Me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby.
It feels a little like this, and I think I can open it up like this a little, So let's set up the stage. The first thing I think I'm going to do is, considering the style and the vibe, let's just start by adding tape on all the tracks, and let's put the Neve on the mix bus. First.
So this is something. Yeah. Why would you do this as a first step rather than kind of saving the best for later?
Because this is going to influence every decision I make. you know, with the neve in place and the tape in place, I'm going to be compelled to compress less. It's going to do things dynamically to the vocal, especially that maybe I don't have to compress at all. I don't know. So this is the way it sounds. So I'm going to mute everything. This is the way it sounds right now.
Me over,
Let me get a
'cause
little
I'm in a
bit. Sorry.
hurry
Let me,
back to
let me get a little bit of temporary gain too. So I'm going to insert a limiter, like maybe the Sonox. There. Boom. You know what's amazing in Luna? When you type limiter, the Sonox limiter shows up. In Pro Tools, it doesn't.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know why. Yeah, I think it got segregated. Maybe Rob pissed somebody off or something. I don't know what happens. So I'm just going to give myself some gain because I know that this is too low a gain for me to deliver. So I could put decibel on and see where we at without the gain. And so I know it's going to sound backwards to a lot of people that I would start with giving myself some gain, but there's a method to this madness. Stay with me. Stay with me.
I said, now please, please, oh please, please.
So on my, I got good instincts apparently. On my top spot, I'm like minus 18. Maybe I should do this for a living.
Right?
Considering a career. On my top spots, I'm at minus 18. I'm going to shoot for minus 12 so that no matter what they do with these tracks, they'll be in, you know? And so yeah. So 60 dBs a gain would be kind of nice. I'm going to lower my headphones.
I said, now please, please, oh please, please, Mr. Officer.
Okay, so now I'm in the Spotify realm. So I don't have to jack it up. So I'm sorry if I blew anybody's ears off. I blew mine off, so we're even.
We're all fair.
Yeah, I usually just raise the fader. I don't have the on-off thing. Okay, cool. So now we hear. So now what I hear is I'm in the realm of where I want to be, right? So level-wise, this is where it's going to be, and I'm doing it post. So that means post need, which means that when I do this now, I'm actually hearing.
I said, hey, there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
And you see, I'm in a reasonable level, and that may creep up a little. And then if that creeps up a level, then I can compensate by lowering my limiter here.
Yeah, because we could. Since you set your levels right based on the loudest part of the song, now when we go back to these other ones, that gives you the room to kind of compress and move things upwards into that level.
Exactly, and especially since there's no bass drums or any percussive instruments, I know that the dynamic range is going to stay more or less the same. If there were a drum set, I know, depending on how realistic I want to, if I want that drum set to sound like it did in the room, then I don't do anything.
Yeah.
But if I want the drum set to sound completely fairy tale, which is 98% of all drum sets on records these days, even for jazz records sometimes, then I have to give myself extra headroom. So I would not give myself as much gain because I know my levels are going to creep up. You know what I mean? But here in this case, it's all very civilized. So I can just work at this level and hover around this level. The thing that's to note, though, is that if I didn't do this, I would be compelled to jack up the levels of the tracks themselves, and then I would hit the neve too hard. So I'm actually sweet spotting this right now.
Yeah.
So let's go to the top of the song to get a vibe.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. I said, hey, there, Mr. Officer.
As a reminder, without the sweeteners.
Mr. Officer.
So listen to the bottom of the vocal when she's Mr. Officer. Listen to how it grabs without the studer. And when I turn the studer and the neve back on, listen to how it's leaner and more even. There's no compression. It's just good tape emulation and good neve emulation. So sorry, I spoke too much. In between, so this is without.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
With.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
It's magical. It's just like it's
It's
subtle.
wow.
I know it's subtle, but it's not subtle. If I didn't have this, then I would grab an EQ and I would like go around 180 to 220 and start bringing it down.
Mm-hmm.
But then it would start sounding thin.
Yeah.
So that allows me to not have to do that. And I'm very curious to know what would happen if I push the saturation a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over,
Mhm.
'cause I've got
Without.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over,
With.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
It is nice. Let's see what happens at the end.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
Without.
I said, hey.
Hear that 3K thing?
Mm-hmm.
Without.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer.
With.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer.
It's gone. So this is worth the price of admission right there.
Right
Let's see
there.
what this, yeah. Listen to this part here. Without. Listen to the first transients,
Mm-hmm.
also the thickness of the guitar. This is without. With. It's just more even, which is what tape did back
Mm-hmm.
when tape existed.
Right.
For normal human beings. And then there's the this Neve thing. We can decide how heavy we want it to sound. Oh, maybe with both of them.
And that's why I'm in a rush. See, I don't want to keep him.
So I can starve, I can basically starve the need for headroom by I know it may sound a little counterintuitive, but you get used to it very quickly. You could say,
Yeah.
okay, the more you push this, the less headroom there is. I know it's weird, but I got used to it. And now I know it's basically more of the effect. That's the way I think about it. So this is where the Neve completely starved for headroom.
And that's why I'm in a rush. See, I don't want to keep him.
This, by the way, is without the Neve.
And that's why I'm in a rush.
See the difference in how would I say coagulation, the difference in togetherness. This is without.
And that's why I'm in a rush. And that's why I'm in a rush.
So all these minute little things are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that's
it adds just like that little bit of hair to the sound.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
hear it, like every once in a while. She breaks past the point just a touch.
Yeah.
Like.
And you'll see it more here, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I'm in a hurry.
Without.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
With.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
So the distortion is on the recording. I'm not going to try and hide it, right? I'm just going to let it be.
Yeah.
And then and I don't think it's a problem. I think it's this, what matters is the performance and the spirit in which you are. But the Neve, literally kind of like between the Neve and the tape, it really like softens things up and makes it feel like that. There's a certain peaceful quality to the sound once you have it on. I really dig it.
And he said that he needs me.
So now we're gonna have to decide color. So I hear this and I'm like, whoa, well, we could put like a filter on it and make it sound like it's 1968 or something, but I believe there's a video attached to this, so I don't think that would work unless the video itself looked like that. And also, I don't think that the retro vintage thing here is important. I think what matters is that it really grabs you.
Yeah.
And it's really smooth. So I only have 2 tracks. I'm gonna try some things. So first, I think that Ariella needs a little bit of sauce. I think I'm going to use one reverb for the whole thing. And
So why would you pick, just using one space as opposed to kind of maybe, because I know in the past, like you used something like the office plus a plate, or like you'd kind of
yep,
combine two different
uh,
dimensions.
I don't want anyone to know that I've done anything,
Mm.
if that makes sense. In here, I just want it to be as transparent and pure as possible, so that it really feels kind of like the focus is on her, not on the trickery. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of her in the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to get some space from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I need. I don't know. I mean, I felt pretty kind of like um, I want to keep it simple. But
Yeah.
I have another idea that just came up. So to answer your question, so let's just put the chambers on here. The chambers are slowly replacing the EMT 140 for me as the first
Uh-huh.
thing I pull out. Sometimes I get back to the EMT, but right now, chambers it is.
Yep.
And so there you go.
And he said that he
I'm going to
needs me.
solo it so you can hear.
And he said that he needs me. Yes, he did. So that's why I'm in a rush.
It's hard to argue with this. I'm going to high
Right.
pass it.
And he said that he needs me. Yes, he did. So that's why I'm in a rush.
Sounds lovely.
And he said that he needs me. Yes, he did. So that's why I'm in a rush.
So I'm going to lower the decay.
And he said that he needs me. Yes, he did. So that's why I'm in a rush. See, I don't want to keep.
See when she gets loud.
I'm in a hurry, hurry, hurry. Oh, should not please, please.
Let's use this as a start point. Let's see what happens if Nick also goes into the chamber. A smidgen for entertainment. Let's look at the beginning. So the other idea I had, it was to create an ocean away space, to try and give more of an ambience around them, and to see if I can actually create more of a atmosphere as opposed to just mix this and then do something with it.
Yeah.
So I would have to adjust this, maybe looking at the video that this is going to go under, so that the space doesn't is kind of in sync with you know what I mean.
You want to like
Really,
design it, put it in a huge, beautiful
yeah,
space,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
it's
I show them in like Carnegie Hall, and they are really in a club. You know that cognitive dissonance is kind of fun, but I don't know that they would enjoy that. So
that's kind of the cool thing about Ocean Wave, right? Is that you get control over how that distance, and it's such a good plugin for building some walls around tracks.
Really, I didn't get it at first. When it first came out, I told Lev, I said, dude, I don't know, not my thing. And then I use it on every mix. So
yeah.
So I'm gonna mute the chamber, and I'm gonna exaggerate Ocean Away to create my space, and then I will scale it back. See, if you come in and you listen to this, so I'm just literally.
It looks like you're inside. You're inside the guitar.
The guitar amp, yeah. It's like, this is a nice amp. What is it, a champ? You know. So, but if you create this space, all of a sudden you're in a different sentiment. And then you add, and he has his own spring on there, you know. But let's add the chamber.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
So now she's really close, right? So we're gonna have to give her a little bit of distance too. And now we're in a position where we actually are able to model the experience for the listener. We can say, you know, there's You know when there's like a really great blues player and it sounds like he's on a on a porch in the back of a house in Memphis. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you create that sound, or people put ambience around music to try and get away from the whole DI vibe. You know, and so I think I'm gonna try and do that. And they may or may not like it, but that's they asked me to do this for them, so they asked me to give my opinion. This is my opinion, and then
Yeah.
if they don't like it, I'll have to change it.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
So this is the record without the reverbs. Ah, I forgot that I'm not in Pro Tools. Sorry. There you go. Boom.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got.
With
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
I dig this because it makes him sound like he's behind her.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have a vibe.
Yeah.
I'm going to create a little bit of a mixed bus vibe. I'm going to use a Fairchild because it's really, really slow.
Mm-hmm.
And that should help.
Please, Mr.
Also, it has a crazy tone. So
Yeah,
I can
it's like
actually
such
get
a
into that.
beautiful game.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got.
So right now it's doing nothing except gain and
Mhm.
also giving me a tone, like a bottom tone. But then when we get to here,
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I'm in a hurry, hurry, hurry. Oh, I said, now please.
let's check that we're not blowing off our good friends at Spotify.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
So I can lose some of that gain that I put with the Fairchild. I can some of the gain I put with the limiter, I can lose a little bit because I added gain with the Fairchild.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I'm in a hurry, 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 hurry. Oh, I said, now please.
I dig that. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of my baby. Hi, gorgeous. Where just a little bit of air at 16K.
I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
Maybe a little bit of present of 5K. Let's listen here.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. I said, hey, there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes. He called and said that he needs me. Yes, he did. And that's why I'm in a rush.
So there's still a little bit of a mask at the very, very bottom, like in 200 on her voice, which I'm going to take care of on the voice itself. I like the way the guitar sounds.
Too much. Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
So I'm thinking that
So we
I'm going
got seeing some good questions coming in here.
hit it.
On the
Questions are great.
So, someone's kind of Prince is wondering, in terms of for a female vocal, like with something like the Pultec, do you have favorite frequencies that you kind of tend to go towards?
I mean, with the Pultec, honestly, the choices are pretty restrained.
Yeah.
So on a female vocal, that's not. This one is well recorded. A lot of the female vocals are so bright, it hurts your eyes,
Mhm.
So the 200 band on the Pultec Legacy, which by the way, you still get free when you buy an Apollo, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on.
Pultec Pro. It's such a good one.
It's on I have all the other ones, courtesy of you lovely, wonderful people, but I use this every day. That's the one because I have everything in one. And I think it sounds lovely. And maybe the other ones are more like accurate to the actual hardware. Well, I don't
Mm-hmm.
care. I get what I need out of this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I use the EQP 1A for the 10K band because it's really, really sweet. But
Mm-hmm.
this one's great too. So for if you have a female vocal that's too thin, you'll find yourself, which is most of the time, you'll find yourself that the 200 here and the 100 here are pushed, and you push them until the presence come back in. It's
Mm-hmm.
really awesome. There's no graph, so you got to listen. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You got to
Too bad. You
listen.
got to use your ears to mix.
Yeah, what a nightmare. The other thing is, I think you'll find that the 5K band is always useful on this
Mm-hmm.
thing, on all vocals, male or female.
Yeah.
And then the 16K or the 10K band. I don't use
Mm-hmm.
the 12 as much, probably for no good reason whatsoever. And I tend to use the bandwidth wide open so that it's like a super soft thing. The other thing I tend to do is to shape stuff is use my baby
Mm-hmm.
that I help design the backs.
Yeah.
So this sounds absolutely fierce. My friend Graham was telling me yesterday he uses it on stems, on everything.
On everything.
Yeah, it's
It's
great.
such a,
So
especially having there's a sweet cut, really easy lift on the top and
yeah,
the bottom.
it's great. Like for example, so if we had these two and I mute the Pultec, here what I would do if I were that first I would high pass,
Mm-hmm.
just out of pure OCD habit. And then I would listen. You gotta know thyself.
Too much, please. Too much,
It's the gentlest, nicest.
Mr. Officer. Don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
And then because it doesn't have the transformer vibe, I would probably like add a little bit of like bottom like this, maybe not that much.
Mr.
Too
Officer,
high,
Mr.
too
Officer,
high.
Mr. Officer. Don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
That's pretty awesome. You can use this also to lift the entire record. So for example, I put it at 1.6 and I jack it up like almost a dB and a half. Check it out.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
Without.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over,
With.
Mr. Officer.
It just goes like
Don't
this.
pull me
So cool.
over.
It just brings things
Just
forward.
move,
It's very
just
practical.
moves the whole thing forward, and it's cool too because you're doing all this. So far, all this processing is kind of universal. Like you're not, we're not doing a
Yeah.
ton of surgery or like really having to go
None.
track by
This
track.
this is instantiated, but it's doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's just global positioning of all the music.
Yeah.
So let's compare. So this is what I just did with the backs.
Mr.
No, I'm
Officer,
tired of cutting her off. This. There you go.
please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
And then with the pull tag.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
To me, the pull tag has the sound we need for this, even though the transformer push adds a little bit even more of that wool at the bottom of our vocal, but I have a tool for that. There's an app for that.
There's a thing for that.
There's a thing for that. So I want to get rid of the backs, even though I love it. And on most records, I have both. Like for example, I could get rid of this. This thing is so transparent. I could get rid of this, turn it back on, and just use the high pass.
Yeah.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. Please, Mr. Officer. Please, Mr. Officer.
It actually can. For those of you who didn't catch it, it cleans up. Listen to the P of please, and listen to the connection between the guitar and the vocal on the downbeat of the verse, right? So Nick does the da 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 please. So this is without. Listen to the impact of the word please without.
Please, Mr. Officer,
And then with.
please, Mr. Officer.
Now it's clean, and you don't get this push. That's because it's high passed, and so you don't get those transients at the bottom or as much because it's not high pass very high. And I know there's nothing in the 36 French, but it just the processing of it makes it cleaner, and then it goes into this, and this guy doesn't have to deal with anything below 36. And this is a Bax thing, and Muth, the guy who designs those curves, are very his stuff is very gentle. It's very, very pretty.
So it's not just like a brick wall filter. It's just taking everything below. It's just gentle, soft.
I don't remember from the Dev days, but if this is more than 12 dBs per octave, I'll be really, really stunned.
Yeah.
So let's get rid of the little bit of a wool here on her vocal.
One of the other questions coming in from people from in regard with the Neve headroom control.
Yes.
So everyone they're saying, a few people are thinking it's a little too distorted, too screamy. How do you evaluate? How do you go between the full of attitude and kind of grit versus what feels what can kind of get blown out sometimes? How do you make that decision between those two?
I mean, for me, it's see this is something we discuss all the time. It's very difficult because there are no rules, right? Jackson Pollock came down and did a red dot on a big gigantic white canvas, and that was it. And then somebody came and said, I can do that. And then his answer, or his art dealer's answer, said, yeah, but you didn't. Right? So this is the same exact situation. There's some records I put on and literally I go, what? But then I tell myself, I look at who the team is. I know these people because I'm lucky enough to know enough people to know who's who. And I'm like, no, that's on purpose. So I can decide to not like it. I mean, I don't think it's a decision. You can decide to like something. I guess, yeah, you can decide not to like something, as we've seen in the last few weeks. It's a decision. It's a mental process, right? So the push. If you're worried that you're pushing too hard, this is the way I would approach it. And I would make sure that my listening environment is great, right?
Yeah.
So that this doubt that what I'm hearing may not be reality is gone from my process. That's the first thing I would
Step one.
Step one. Because most people who ask me these sorts of questions, I'm like, what are you listening on? And they're like listening on Beats by Dre, or they're listening on, whatever,
laptop
garbage.
speakers.
Yeah, laptop speakers. And I'm like, well, fine. And there's nothing wrong. Like Nesrine proofed her entire super high res record on earbuds, on the not any earbuds, the Apple earbuds.
Yeah.
Who am I to tell her not to do that, since she listens to everything in her life on that? I have to say, okay, no problem. It informs my process, but I'm in no position to tell her you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
But for you as a creator, if you're wondering, okay, how hard can I push this Neve saturation without making a mistake? Well, first, there's no mistake. If you decide to make it saturate, it's not a mistake, it's a decision. If it saturates, if it's crunchy, and that's not what you wanted, then that's a mistake. The reasons why that would happen are A, you're not hearing it properly. Hence, make sure that your listening environment, that's the thing you should spend money on. At this point, you can make a record with a laptop, an Apollo, Luna, and one microphone. If you want to go cheap, you can get an Arrow and some, Behringer B52 microphone, and literally your bill of goods. You steal your laptop from your big brother or your mother or whatever, your bill of goods is under $1,000, like $700, and you have a functioning record-making machine. The thing you should spend money on is either a pair of really great headphones that are not lying to you, or a pair of really great speakers and enough treatment in your room. That's where the money should be spent, because then, when you press play, that what you hear is a good average of what everybody's going to hear. There's no such thing as real, but you have to average between everybody's stuff, right?
Yep.
So then at that point, you can hear it saturate, and you can make the decision. I like this sound. I do not like the sound. And that's the only thing that will be the deciding factor. Then there's the next step. You could say, I like this sound. And then the artist goes back to you, is like, I don't, what's going on? It just feels bad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, maybe I should back up that whole saturation thing a smidgen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the artist comes back to say, yeah, it doesn't sound like I like this record, and it feeds you like a mono, high passed Motown stuff where there's nothing below 100 hertz, and it distorts on beat one, and then you go, and that's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. So it's a taste thing. But to be able to exercise taste, you have to be able to have a playground that gives you the right information. You can't make decisions if you're being lied to.
Yeah.
In all walks of life, do not make any decisions based on information that you haven't verified. So this is that's the answer to that question.
Well, then you just spurred a bunch of follow-up questions here. So what
Okay,
headphones would you recommend, Fab?
Oh, this is really, really hard. It's really, really, really hard.
Mhm.
So they used to Focal, they're French, but they're very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Used to make a pair of headphones called the Spirit Pros,
Yep.
which were fabulous, but broke a lot.
Yeah.
Not the sound of it, it's just the frame
The
of it
actual
was
thing, yeah.
not the best design. But the sound of them was absolutely amazing. If you find Tom, one of the engineers at Flux, found a pair used in the box on eBay and bought it and paid $200 for it, because
Mhm.
and now he's going to treat it like it's literally the eighth wonder of the world and made it out of porcelain,
Yeah.
which because it basically is made out of porcelain.
Mhm.
So I use those because I have two pairs. I have one pair
Mm-hmm.
that I use right here
Nice.
that lives in a box, and nobody can use it.
Never
and
leaves the house. Gently lifted over your ears.
It's really like it's China. And I have
Uh-huh.
another pair in the box for when these breaks, which will happen. We don't know when, but it will happen. So that's
Yeah.
going to buy me a few months of years until somebody comes up with another pair of headphones. What you have right now is HD 600s.
Yep.
Those are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this is my other choice. This is HD 600s is what I used every day until I was able to help design the Spirit Pros and make them sound just right for me, because
Yep.
I'm selfish. But the HD 600s are well, they're not affordable. They're like $300.
300.
That's not affordable for a pair of headphones, but they're endlessly repairable.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy the drivers from Sennheiser forever. It's a German company, so they have systems.
Yeah.
And you can change the drivers yourself. I changed my HD 600 drivers once a year.
Yep.
It cost me $50 a year, and my HD 600s are always fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So those, I would say, in the absence of anything else, right now, from everything that I've heard and I've listened to, every pair of headphones that goes by,
Yep.
the closest ones to reality, other than Spirit Pros, are the 600s. Voila.
Nice.
To me, and they sound great on an Apollo preamp.
Yeah.
Because the preamp is
I followed your suit because I remember first time I ever heard these headphones was at your studio, and then the very first check I ever got from a project, it went into buying I believe it was a double O2 rack and these headphones, and I've never given up on these headphones ever since.
No, they're great. The other thing you could do is do what I do here. Is these are consumer Focal in-ear. They're called Sphere Pro S. There's nothing pro about them. They're made to go running, but they're actually really great. They're great. And for a while, I was buying them by the 10-pack and giving them, literally, I would call Focal, say, I need to buy 10 pairs of the Focal Sphere Pro.
Yeah.
And I would give them to the artists I work with as a gift at the beginning of the project. I say, here,
listen on these.
Listen on these. You're going to love it. And so when they get back, because they're really accurate, and so when they got back to me with the feedback, I would say, did you listen on what I gave you? Are you using the gift? And then we were able to communicate on it even kill. Because, once you've gone to a singer's house and you listen to your mix on their speakers, you're like, oh, okay.
Now I see.
I see why you said there's too much bass. So that's always an enlightening experience, especially these days when you can't be in the same room with people.
Yeah.
You know. So what are you listening on is a key thing. So that's my answer. Get a pair of 600s and get a pair of Sphere Pros, and you're golden. Also, the
Hey.
600s are open, so you can work on them all day without killing yourself. But then you'll need a small speaker to be able to place vocals. This is
Yeah.
hard to place vocals on 600s. It's hard to place vocals even on this, which is why I'm going to switch to speakers for a moment.
Nice.
At one point. Any other question?
No, I'll let you get back to work. Thank you for
Okay.
entertaining all these very good questions, and thanks everybody in the chat for good questions. It's
Okay,
rocking
so
today.
check it out. We were here.
Please, Mr. Officer.
So you hear Mr. Officer? I think it's here. Ish.
Please, Mr. Officer.
There you go. That's what it needs. And then because, I can't help myself.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
And then, this is a classic thing. So let's do a classic thing. Let's see if we can add a little bit of LA too.
Please, Mr. Officer.
So this is, I got to complain to Lev about this. There's gain on this plugin.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got. Please, Mr. Officer.
With,
Please,
see, this is so much gain. Without,
please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
with,
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
there's still too much gain, but that's not the point of this exercise. Let's see what happens when she starts singing.
Because he never, ever, 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 ever asks for too much. Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. Yes, I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I'm in a hurry. Hurry, 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 oh, I said now please.
I think Nick could benefit from a little bit of this vibe too. And then why not this too? And this is not going to work, but this should be useful.
Because he never, ever, 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 ever asks for too much. Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. Yes, I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I'm in a hurry, 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 hurry. Oh, I said, now please, 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 oh please, 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 Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes, I'm going home to my baby.
Cool. And fancy that. I'm pretty much in the 12 range on peaks that I was looking for. My average, I haven't switched time code. Let me switch the time code. My average is at 15. It's probably higher than that. So because I got to make sure that for my, the target of this is going to be YouTube and Spotify. There's not going to be a mastering engineer after this. So I want to make sure that everything is as good as it can be.
Yeah.
But I have my little gain here just in case. You never know what might happen.
So you've got the easy up and down adjustments.
That's the idea. And so I think that it would be cool for the guitar to have a little bit of a hole at 500 to just leave a little more space for her. Just a smidgen, kind of like, don't take the whole bed kind of vibe. So this is without.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be.
Hear that? So now I'm going to do it again so you can really listen to the space right behind her, right? So this is without the correction.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
And then this is with.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
So on the impacts, it doesn't crowd her as much.
Yeah.
But now we have to make sure that I didn't neuter his sound. You know. With cleaner. Okay, cool. So I just pressed save, even though there's no need to save.
It's like nothing happens. You hit Command S, nothing happens. It's already
Nothing
done.
happens. You know, they should make a like Easter eggs. Every time you hit Command S, there's a little smiley face that comes up, or something like that. All right, so I consider myself pretty happy with this. The tone is good, the vibe is good. Let me listen to it on speakers for a moment.
Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we now have a system that, thanks to His Majesty Ben Lindell right here, that actually I can listen on the speakers without having feedback and crazy stuff like that. So let's see. So I won't hear you for a second, Ben.
Okay, go for it.
I'm just gonna do a pass and then
your
adjust some
thing.
things, and I'll comment later when I grow up.
Okay.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes. He called and said that he needs me. Yes, he did. And that's why I'm in.
Vocal feels still a little crowded, so I'm going to lower Nick a little. I'm having a technical issue here, and everything is distorting, but because Hijack is unhappy, but I'm just going to pretend everything's fine.
I mean, we're hearing
Well,
the.
hold on one second. What?
I think the sizzle might be the main Neve bus. I think that's what people were hearing before.
Okay, let's see.
I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes. He called and said that he needs me. Yes, he did. And that's why I'm in a rush.
It goes back to what I was saying. I was like, I didn't hear that in my earbuds. So because I was not in my natural environment, I pushed something. I made a decision to jack it up, and is genuinely a really bad idea. So now that I'm in my real environment and I can hear, I was like, oh, it's broken. And the reason why I thought it was broken is because in here I didn't hear that distortion. So let me just check one more thing for my entertainment.
Everybody, it's really funny. There were so many. A lot of people, they were hearing that same thing in the chat. So it was really it's cool to see. Like this is you just proved your own point of like what you're listening on is the only thing that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mix on these. This is just for me to be able to hear you.
I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I said, hey there.
I didn't hear that in the I don't hear that crunch on the earbud. So let me adjust on speakers for a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes. He called and said that he needs me. Yes, he did. And that's why I'm in a rush. See, I don't want to keep him waiting, 'cause he don't ever ask for too much. Please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I
How this sounds. So what I did is what I did is first I actually I think the vocal was still a little too woolly. I want really because I felt like I was this close. I just wanted to push her back a little. So I just changed the curve on the high pass on the vocal, and that's it. Didn't touch the compression. Didn't touch the guitar here. What I did though is I actually moved the guitar a little bit to the left.
Yeah.
And that in stereo, for me, it gives a certain space that's a lot more interesting. And also lowered the hell out of the, saturation underneath, because I was just being a hooligan. So, and I like how that feels. Like there's a certain transparency to this. I want to hear how it sounds on the guitar solo. Section, it feels a little bit much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to automate the EQ. So I haven't done that before, but I'm going to figure it out. Hold on, let me put this back on in case there's questions coming from you while I do this. Let's see. I'm going to just tame the 3K at that moment. I think that would be a good idea. So band 3 gain. There he is. Hi, gorgeous. So I'm going to automate the band 3 gain. I'm going to put it back to 0 right now. And just for that segment, wow, this is very precise. And just for that segment, I'm going to lower it like this. And so that when he does the whole mandolin style thing, then we don't have to have our eyes hurt. Let's see how that works. If I had that thing off.
My man called and he said that he needs me. Yes.
I think that helped a lot.
Yeah.
So,
because it makes so the pick is a little bit less, jumping out at you.
It doesn't hurt here so much, and so it's more in, because I don't have a separation between the solo and the loop. So I have to do something like that, which is great. I'm happy to do that. So let's listen to the end here. I got to listen to the end, see where it goes. I'm still wondering a little bit. I might. There's one more thing I'd like to do.
I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over.
Maybe, just maybe, Mr. Officer. Maybe,
Oh, yeah,
Mr. Officer. This would be nice.
I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to... I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby.
Things hard to beat. Let's be real. And then I'm
Yeah.
gonna jack up this a little.
I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to...
Now that I have this shape, I'd like to change a little bit. Just one more tiny detail. Just one more thing.
This is one more. Just one more.
This inspired me to do this. And then listening on speakers also, one could get used to the whole speaker thing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey there, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes. He called and said that he needs me. Yes, he did. And that's why I'm in a rush. See, I don't want to keep him waiting, 'cause in...
It just brings the guitar a little bit on her vocal. Her vocal has a little bit of more of a shine. Let's see what happens here.
Ever rush for too much, please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. Oh, hurry, 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 or I should not, please, please.
In the heat of passion, Nick got a little bit carried away, just a smidgen. So I'm thinking that this may be a good way to ease that pain. Sorry. Come on down. So we have that. By the way, I'm automating the volume right now. Come on, girl. Oh, I'm in that mode. I'm discovering that mode. There you go.
Ever rush for too much, please, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I've got somewhere to be. Yes, I said, hey, Mr. Officer, don't pull me over. I'm in a hurry, 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 or I should not, please, 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 oh, please, 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 Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, 'cause I'm in a hurry back to my baby. Yes, I'm going home to my baby.
All right, so I feel a little more confident that this sounds more like a record.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was playing all that, I see that I have an average of -16 and a true pick of almost 2 dBs, which means that if I want this to be kosher for Spotify and for YouTube now, I can go back to, guess what, my original 6 dBs again.
Back up to 6. Yeah.
And this now I can just export this and send it to them and see what they think. So I thought I was going to mix 3 songs on the show today, but no, I'm just going to mix 1 song on the show today. But we have we can get real-time feedback from them because
Yeah.
they're available. They are going to pipe in from Florida. Yeah. While they are piping, do we have any questions from the good people in the audience? Yes.
There's been some questions asking when Decibel is going to be released.
Decibel is coming no later than very soon, or a little bit after that. I can't work without anymore. We just
Over.
what's up, Nicholas? Hi, how
Hey,
you
what's up,
doing?
Nicholas?
Hold on. Let me pause this.
Oh yeah, yeah. When basically Apple just did something, and so the release of Decibel is going to be a little bit delayed because of that. Once we fix it. Hi, Ari, how you doing?
Here we go.
All right,
Great. How are you?
great. So you've been listening, I take it.
I
Yes.
have.
Okay. Are you guys in line with the direction? Are you comfortable with this sounding this
Yes.
way, or do you have? Yes. Good. What kind of feedback would you like to give to me right now on the air? And I, as you know, as everybody knows now, we do this. We do it in real time. It's not necessarily the best conditions to make a perfect record, but and so I will fix whatever you need tomorrow. But basically, in the heat of the moment right now, what is it that you hear that you'd like me to do different? If there is something you'd like me to do different.
The only thing I noticed was when you did the volume drop at the end on Ari's vocals,
Yeah.
it seemed like some of the high-end presence that you had put in there
Yeah.
kind of gets lost. It might be
Yeah.
just eaten up by the guitar a little bit.
Yeah. So that's why at the very end there, I lowered the guitar a little bit, so that because I heard that. So I probably will have to I'm going to do another pass on speakers to make sure that I can balance the vocal and the guitar, because you dig in quite a bit there, and so it generates so much more of a bed under her, and so it's harder for her to get over. So I have 2 ways to fix that. Either I lower you further, which at one point is going to start to show, which is not cool, or I'm just going to raise her. The other thing I could do is automate let's see what happens with the compressor. I could take the compressor here and look at what's going on.
Hurry, hurry, or I said now, please.
Like, for example, this is a little brutish, right? Let's call it what it is. So I'm not being gentle on the compression, and for most records, in a full record, you see LA2 is doing that, on beat 1, but not for this record, because we're not that kind of girl. So what we're gonna do is we could go to the automation lane and find the peak reduction. There you go. And then right for this moment here, I could lower just the peak reduction a little bit.
Don't pull me over. I'm in a hurry. Hurry, 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 or I said now, please.
So instead of doing this, because the compressor is pushing her back, now she's pushing back less. So if I want to finesse that, finesse is a French word for doing it better. So let's see. I'm going to actually ease into it.
I'm in a hurry. Hurry, 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 or I said now, please.
So the decision here is difficult. Yeah, obviously I'm back on my, headphones, but the decision here is, do I want this very compressed sound louder, or do I want to compress less? In my church sound, I want to compress less. But there's a lot of people who make unbelievable records by just leveling compressed vocals. Like, for example, Jakir does that a lot. Jakir would slam, Jakir King, for those of you who were born yesterday, will slam like 12 dBs on an 1176 plugin on a vocal, and then write the dynamics back in so he can choose where he puts the emotion. That's a perfectly valid way of doing it. I agonize over automating the compressor more, because that's my church. I like it this way. So So that's the vibe. I think that what you guys have done first for one take live performance is pretty awesome. Are you using a looper pedal? Is that what you're doing, Nick?
Yeah, it's
It's very seamless. Like, yeah, I didn't, I put it on. I was like, I was probably 2 bars into the solo. I was like, wait, how many hands does he have? So it's very good. Maybe you could and this is for your live performance, right? This is when you guys go play a gig. It sounds like that. Pretty awesome.
Sounds good.
Maybe if there's a level, if I may, being French pain in the butt. If there's a level to your loop, if you loop when you play over the loop, if the loop could be a little louder than when you play the thing, so your backing is a little stronger. Because right now the difference between the solo part and the loop part, the loop is a little under, and in this recording I can't do anything about it because it's all in one. So that's why you saw me do the EQ thing to try and reduce the difference between the two. But if you have control over your looped part, like 2.5 dBs louder on the loop part, and then golden. It's awesome. So you know what? Do we have a few more minutes, Ben?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do while these guys are watching is I'm going to torture them and drop their it's what I do best, and drop the rest of their music live into the same timeline. So let's go back to the Finder, session stems, and there seems to be some punches. Oh yeah. So
I actually emailed you those fixed. I thought about it last night.
It's
I was like,
okay.
wait a second, you punched them.
Let's do it. Let's do it in real time. We have no fear whatsoever. So let's see.
Thankfully, they're synced.
Off. Royal. You mean I don't have to reconnect everything by
All I
myself?
have to do is chop and drop.
Amazing. All right. So let's do guitar. Boom. And let's do voice, and I'll do the punching right after. You okay with that, Ariella, right?
Oh, sure.
I know it sounds good. You never ever don't sound good. It just doesn't happen. So I'm going to synchronize this the old way.
Do you want to know the quick way? Oh yeah, you pretty much got it.
Yeah, done. So I just dropped these raw tracks straight into our existing session. We have automation there that complicates things a little bit. So, but let's just assume that this was recorded the same day with the same microphone, with the same preamp, and they were in the same mood. They didn't have more coffee. They were not tired. Life was great.
If I don't bring you joy, if I don't bring you happiness, if I don't make you smile.
So it looks to me like Nick had a little more coffee. So I'm gonna lower gain stage his track down a little.
Just so you know, we can't hear what you're playing back because we're on.
I know. This is the wonders of technology.
If I don't bring you happiness, if I don't make you smile, I'm not scared of loneliness.
Oof. Let's compare with the beginning of the other song.
Mr. Officer, don't pull me over, make you smile. I'm not scared of loneliness. You can walk out on me.
Nice.
Because the power in me is the power that makes me believe that I don't need you to make me complete.
Here I felt like I needed a little more of the space around Nick's because it's got more vibe.
After all of these years and all of these tears, all of the joy, no, I don't mind giving up the fight.
That sounds really fantastic.
So good.
Yeah. So let's see the. Why would you decide to punch in? I'm curious. Let's find out. Oh, there's 3 words right there. Okay, let's see.
That had to be terrified. Is it terrified or joy?
No, you do punches in both. Joy and terrified.
Let's find out. Let's find out. Everyone, a big thank you to Ariella and Nick for
Yeah.
lending themselves to this exercise. Not a lot of people would be comfortable doing this, you know. So I'm just gonna butcher this way.
Go for it.
So I'm gonna use the fantastic playlist system. Make a new playlist here. Actually, not do that. I'm gonna duplicate the playlist.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. And I'm gonna copy this like this up into the second playlist, and that way I can hear the thing edited.
No, you've given your love. Now I may not know much,
There you go.
but I know how I feel. I know who I am, and I know true.
Okay, let me fix that. Do-do-do-do-do. All right, so I see. I mean, it was fine, guys, but I'm with I'm with you. So I'm gonna cut this up because I feel that you're coming in a little. I think you're a little forward. So I'm gonna nobody don't look. This is not happening. Pay no attention to the French man behind the mirror. Okay, here we go.
Now I may not know much.
Okay, I'm gonna clean up the mess. You're
That's
clearly way louder here, so I'm gonna lower it.
I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing with live edits and live, or especially a 2-track mix like that, right, Fab? Like every little detail, every little breath,
Hear everything.
every noise,
Now I may not know much.
Less.
Now
I'm cutting you off here. That's rude.
now I may not know much.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. A little bit of a fade for entertainment.
Now I may not know much, but I know how I feel. I know who I am, and I know true love is real. I've always had.
Lower that second one.
Now I may not know much, but I know how I feel. I know who I am, and I know true love is real.
So, oh, there's another one. There's another one. Wait. And the placement's very different. So it's not just dropping something into the timeline. It's never quite works that way. Let's hear the source.
We need has changed, and it's no longer the same thing. So now the time.
All right, I get it. So get this, move it up.
Has changed, and it's no longer the.
Aha! But now we have the bleed in Nick's guitar. This is gonna be a tough one. Let's listen to just the
Fab,
vocal.
also, it looks like you may have, I can't tell if it was Zoom glitching or the clip may have moved to the right a little bit as you dragged it up.
No, it's not perfectly aligned to start with.
Know
what I'm saying? That's what I'm
Yep.
saying. Yep. I'm not saying it loud, but I'm saying it. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a hybrid. You guys don't pay attention to this, it's gonna horrify you. Here we go.
What we need has changed. It's no longer the same. Has changed, and it's no longer the same thing. So now the time has come out. The
I'll
time
have to fix that breath. Let's see how it feels here.
has changed, and it's no longer the same thing. So now the time.
Nobody will ever know.
Unless they watch this, then they might know.
Yeah, nobody's watching this.
Just the hundreds of people watching this. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay, there you go. Second song done. So you're gonna have to trust me on this, guys. It came out awesome. Cool. And that's the process. I can get rid of this dude. Thanks for coming. There you go.
Nice.
All right. So I'm gonna do, what time is it? Oh goodness. So I'm gonna do the third one off camera, and I'm gonna finish those two and send it to to them and do the third one off camera. Do we have any more questions from our good people on the other side of the net?
There's just so much love in the chat for your voice, and Nick also on the guitar playing. Man, people are just like, they're freaking out about how good this sounds. It's so much soul, so much emotion coming through.
Thank you.
Yeah, the guys, this is really beautiful performances.
These guys are awesome. You're in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Where in Florida?
Sarasota.
Exotic.
Nice.
So you're working on a record?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it going to be stripped down like this, or is it going to have more instruments?
It'll be full band.
Full band. All right. They have an amazing band, like great players, really, really great players. And obviously they really can hold down just the two of them. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing the record. I think part of it's going to be made here, I think, upstairs.
Nice.
But so these 3 tracks, should we listen to the third one? Do we have time? Are people fed up with me, or
people are sticking around, man. They're
okay,
loving
great.
the music.
So let me just drop the third one in. Oh, there's a punch. Dying to know what that punch is about. Guitar. Let's do the vocal. Ooh, that one that's gonna be a scorcher.
That is terrifying.
Look at that waveform at the end. Somebody let loose. All right, so let's snap this to a bar that we like 296, one of my favorite numbers. There you go, boom. And it sounds like this.
We together, I'd love to make it forever. It's been such a long time. But these days you seem much colder.
This one I'm gonna have to drag into a separate session because of distance to the mic is different, and so she's the little bit of a there's a little bit of a you're fired. There's a little bit of a and because the range is insane. Look at this thing at the end there. It starts very quiet, so I'm gonna have to equalize to basically still give the emotion of that huge kind of like crescendo, but there is no way, like if you put it on Spotify and you align this so that this is as loud as the latest Drake single, and then this is gonna sound like it's not even there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to balance this thing, which is just automation and clip gain, so that to basically push the quiet parts as loud as possible without losing the sentiment of raise and a climb at the end. And voila, this is awesome.
Yeah,
this
dude,
is gonna sound beautiful.
It's such a cool sound. And so these 3 songs, I assume, Fab, you mentioned there's a video component to it. So
yeah. So when I'm gonna send this to you, you're gonna sync them to your video.
Yeah, we did 3 videos and one shoot for a thing called the Ghost Motel in Central Florida, which is kind of like a jam in the van kind of thing with our friend Dylan, and he's a great videographer, and so there'll be videos that we'll get to attach the new audio to.
Awesome.
That's great. So I'll look at the videos and make sure that the space I created is actually valid. And then if it's not, I'll adjust a little bit for the video so that what you hear are in sync.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, people are used to hear vocals coming out of vocals that are reverb coming out of vocals that are in small rooms. That's that. We have 50 years of fake reverbs to educate people that that's cool. But the space I created around your guitar and around the two of you is, I have to match the size of that space to what the eyes are going to say. Otherwise, there's going to be a dissonance. Like people are not going to, it's not going to feel good. Because if the space sounds too small or too big compared to what the eyes see, then it will not feel good unless it's on purpose. But the focus is the performance, not trickery.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Voila, I think that's our show for the day.
Fab, man, this has been what a cool journey, and really cool to see the attention, the detail that goes into something seemingly very simple.
Very simple.
but I hope what people take away from this is like the process that you go through of it, of kind of setting up your session, just starting with Neve, starting with tape, kind of giving yourself that head start, going to the limiter, now working on your levels, making sure that you're sitting in the right ballpark, and then it's just kind of refined from there. And like it's good for people to see like the level of detail or OCD that you put into these mixes of automating peak reduction or automating little 3K thing moments on the guitar. Like that's the difference between just like here's a quick little rough mix and like here's a mix that's done, considered polished, and fits perfectly with the vision of the music.
To me, that's my vision. I don't like when something pulls you out of the music. So when the guitar solo comes on, if it hurts my eyes, or if I have to pull back, or if it gets me out of the vibe that has been set since the beginning, to me that's a liability.
Yeah.
Same with the vocal. If when she's belting, she's pushed back because the LA2 is having a field day, I think I'm failing. So to me, I want to make sure that the listener has that experience throughout. So that's what it takes for two. In my world, the way I see things, that's what it takes for a 2-track mix. So it's not trivial. I'm probably going to spend I'm going to spend time on the Joy track. And I'm probably going to spend an hour on the Hope track, another hour, and then whatever time it takes to make Joy have that feeling, and then I'll send it to them. Then I'm going to get feedback, and then I'm going to recall, and then that'll be their track to put on YouTube.
That's awesome. Well, man,
Awesome.
This is what a journey, what a fun show, and I hope everybody tune in. You guys picked up some good tips and some things that you can apply to your mixes. Thank you so much, Nicholas and Ariella. Man, beautiful playing, beautiful performances, guys. Thank you for allowing us to hear your music and get inside of it, and see this process and how these songs come to life. Really appreciate you guys, and what a cool performance. I can't wait to see how these videos turn out.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'll see you next week for another exciting adventures.
Awesome. See you guys.
Ciao.